What's up everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk Video Games. I'm Sal, and today we're finally here for the full in-depth review for the Retroid Pocket 5. I'd like to go over the $220 price for this small device and let you guys know if it really is worth it. So without further ado, let's get into the negatives and the positives of purchasing the Retroid Pocket 5. So the first thing I want to go into is how much you'll actually end up spending on this device. Yes, it's $220. Not a terrible price for it considering all the systems you could really play on it with emulation. But if you truly want to get the best experience possible on the Retroid Pocket 5, you're going to have to spend more money on it. I ended up spending around $300 on the Retroid Pocket 5, some accessories. I bought the RP5 for $220. Then, of course, we need a screen protector for this AMOLED beautiful screen so that it won't be damaged if I ever drop it. That was another $6. I also bought a carrying case for it that was $10. A Retroid Pocket 5 grip that improves the ergonomics of the device for $15. The infamous shipping price of $50. Totaling around $300. Yeah, it's pretty dang expensive if you want to get everything you really need for the Retroid Pocket 5. And honestly, I would really consider paying for the screen protector, the case, and the grip for the Retroid Pocket 5. It really improves the experience overall of playing on this device. And there's also another cost that no one really talks about, and that's increasing the memory storage for this device. It comes with 128 gigabytes of storage, but of course, if you want to transfer any ROMs for systems that are more complicated than your retro consoles, like your PlayStation 2 games or GameCube, you're gonna need a lot more storage than 128 gigabytes. I already had a 1 terabyte micro SD, so I didn't have to spend the extra money on that, but just be aware you might have to if you want to increase your storage on it. 128 gigabytes isn't really a lot if you want to play more PS2 games on here, since the file sizes for those games are larger. So here are the Retroid Pocket 5 specifications as follows. The CPU is a Snapdragon 865, the GPU Adreno 650. We have 8 gigabytes of LPDDR4 by 2133 megahertz of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage with the ability to increase your storage via micro SD card. The operating system is Android 13. And we have that amazing 5.5 inch AMOLED 1080p 60 frames per second screen. The battery is a 5000 mAh, and for connectivity we have Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1. And this system features active cooling, analog L2R2, 3D Hall sticks, official OTA support for incremental software upgrades. So those are the specs for the Retroid Pocket 5. So in case you guys did not know, Retroid will ship this to you from China. Here's the screen protector. Here's the case for the Retroid Pocket that is $10. I'm really liking how this looks. Let's open it up. Oh yeah, you could store all your digital games in there. Here is the Retroid Pocket grip. And it looks nice, but there are some problems with it. Here's the Retroid Pocket box. It looks awesome. I love the little art designs on there. Let's open up this bad boy. Here's the Retroid Pocket 5 user manual. And of course the USB-C to charge the Retroid Pocket or transfer files to your PC. And a little sticker. I don't know what this says. So here's the Retroid Pocket 5. Wow. That looks amazing, guys. Oh my lord. Look at that screen. Look at those triggers. Look at those analog or Hall sticks. Looks awesome. So fresh, so clean. I need to put a screen protector on this thing. And here's the back of the Retroid Pocket. As you see the vents there, the volume up and down button, and the power button with the triggers here. And the USB-C at the bottom to charge the handheld. Also where you will insert your micro SD card. And it looks lovely. I love how this looks. Now we will insert the 1 terabyte micro SD card, because I'm gonna put a lot of PlayStation 2 games on here. I recorded this about a month and a half ago when I first got the handheld. And there's the Retroid Pocket 5 turning on. Looks amazing. I love the AMOLED screen there. By the way, this is my first Retroid Pocket, believe it or not. And welcome to Retroid Pocket 5. So that is it. We all set up here. So here is the Retroid Pocket 5 next to the PlayStation Vita 2000 model. Just wanted to show you guys a little comparison on how the screens match up next to each other. As you see, it's a bit bigger there. The PS Vita 2000 model has a 5-inch screen, I believe, and this one has a 5.5 inch. But the brightness is way better on the RP5, as you can tell. It looks amazing. I love these two handhelds. I want to explain why this device is an excellent purchase for $220. Yes, the first thing we all noticed on the RP5 is that amazing 5.5-inch AMOLED screen. Makes all your games really pop, breathing new life into all your old retro games, from the Atari 2600 to the NES, to more modern consoles like the Nintendo Wii and PlayStation 2. It will run most of your games in 1080p, 60 frames per second. The next thing here, obviously, is emulation on this device. Emulation is the reason I bought the RP5. I had a Steam Deck OLED, but let's be honest, the Steam Deck is not really a handheld. That thing is massive. I love the Steam Deck, but I needed something smaller, something that isn't too heavy and actually could fit in your pocket. Hence the name Retroid Pocket. Something more in the line with the size of a PSP or a PlayStation Vita, but also I needed it to be able to handle anything from NES to PlayStation 2. And the RP5 is perfect for that. It's the perfect handheld because it is a handheld, not like your gaming PC handhelds like the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally. And if I need to emulate anything beyond that, I already have a 4090 graphics card gaming PC, and the actual more graphically demanding games, I can play those on my PC. So I mainly need a handheld. This thing really wowed me with what it can handle. I'll have a future video on the PlayStation Portable emulation on this, but the RP5 is the ultimate PSP. It runs those games perfectly, and I have the entire library on it running in 1080p. They truly look jaw-dropping compared to playing them on an actual PSP. The same thing can be said for the PlayStation 2 games, although there are limitations there, and GameCube games run amazing as well. This is the ultimate handheld device in my opinion. I have my entire library of games for Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Gear, WonderSwan, PSP, Nintendo DS, and Nintendo 64. It's freaking crazy. I love it. Running everything with the emulators on Emulation Station makes everything so seamless and a pleasure to scroll through all these classic games with cover arts and videos playing in the background. This thing, in case you guys have not heard me yet, is freaking fantastic. The next positive aspect is the battery and sleep functions on this device. Since it runs on Android, playing games on it is very seamless. You can put the RP5 to sleep and pick it up hours later, continuing where you left off without any loss in battery life. This is great, especially with its battery life. It's perfect for trips and traveling anywhere. Being a pick up and play device, whenever you want, unlike things like the Steam Deck and other PC handheld devices. Now, I know I seem very high on this device, but there are some negative aspects to purchasing the Retroid Pocket 5. What's bad about this device? The placement of the Hall sticks. Of course, the analog sticks, I'm not sure exactly what to call them, but you know what I mean. As someone who comes mostly from playing on PlayStations, I've gotten used to both analog sticks being on the bottom of the controller, but in the most recent years, I've been super into how the layout is on the Xbox controllers. I love how the sticks are offset, and having large hands is something that's gonna bother you here. It feels very uncomfortable at times, cramping your hands at the bottom while you're playing games where you have to use both sticks. It's quite strange that they didn't think about this when they designed the RP5, especially since they advertised this as an emulation device for more modern systems. Yet those are the systems where you're going to have a harder time getting used to how the stick feels while playing games on those systems. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking, that's what the grip is for. And yeah, you might be right. Still, one, the RP5 grips is another purchase you're gonna have to make. It doesn't come with the handheld. You'll have to spend another $15 just to improve the ergonomics of this device. Additionally, it doesn't entirely alleviate the discomfort of the device. It's a slight improvement, but not a noticeable difference. The most significant drawback is that if you're buying this device to emulate Switch games or similar newer consoles like the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, you're better off not bothering if that's your reason for wanting this. You're much better off going with the Odin Portal 2, which is much better equipped for those systems. Please note that if you're buying the RP5, it has its limitations with newer systems and what it can handle. The next negative, 128 gigabytes, is okay if you're just gonna play a couple PlayStation 2 or a couple GameCube games and your older systems like the NES or Game Boy Advance. But if you wanna have a lot of options on it, you're gonna need to buy a micro SD card. The good thing here is that the price on micro SD cards isn't terrible, so it won't be too expensive, but still, it's another thing you have to consider when purchasing this device. The next negative, although it's a minor one and kind of nitpicky, is that I wish the screen were bigger. A 6.5 inch or a 6-inch display would be excellent for a device like this, but I'm being nitpicky here, I have to admit that. And finally, the last negative thing I have to complain about is the Android emulation. Some of you might say it's not that hard to understand how to emulate everything on Android, but I'm mainly an iPhone user, hence the device running with Android 13 was something I had to get used to. I had to watch a full tutorial on how to set everything up with Emulation Station and all the emulators like Nether SX2, and the big daddy himself, Retro Game Core, has an amazing tutorial on how to do it, to get everything up and running on this device. But if you're a newbie to emulation and want to pick this as your first device to learn how to emulate everything, you're going to be very confused and you might end up with a huge headache. There's many complicated things you'll have to do on the RP5, but once you get everything set up and running, it'll run amazing. Those are my thoughts on the RP5. It's not a perfect device, but none of these really are. There are always some negatives and positives to buying any of these emulation handhelds. I just wanted to share my experience with all of you so you guys could compare your situations and what you guys want to see if maybe this is the perfect device for you. I'm going to be playing this a lot, especially during downtime when I'm editing videos or in between games on my PC. But yeah, an excellent device with some negatives to it. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, take care guys. I'm Sal from Let's Talk Video Games, signing out. Peace.